The gas station at exit 9. True story, submission. My name's Derek. I used to work the night shift at a small gas station off the highway, just outside of Flagstaff, Arizona. I started there when I was 22, working alone from 10 p.m. until 6 a.m. It was quiet most nights, except for truckers or the occasional lost tourist. But something happened in the fall of 2018 that I still can't explain, something I still have nightmares about every time I see a flickering fluorescent light. The gas station was one of those old roadside ones, a single-story building, 2 pumps, cracked concrete, and a buzzing sign that barely lit up the parking lot. The inside had yellowing walls, 2 security cameras that didn't even record, and an old coffee machine that sputtered and hissed like it was possessed. My manager, Carl, told me the night shift was easy. You'll get paid to listen to the radio and sell coffee, he said. And for the first few weeks, that was true. The strangest thing I dealt with was a drunk guy trying to pay for gas with an expired library card. But on one stormy Thursday night in October, I think it was the 11th, things changed. The storm started around 11 p.m. It wasn't just rain. It was the kind of storm that made the windows vibrate. Thunder shook the ceiling tiles. Every so often, the lights flickered and the radio cut out. I was restocking the snack aisle when I heard something outside. At first, I thought it was just the wind, but it was a slow, dragging sound, like someone pulling something heavy across the concrete. I peeked through the front window, but all I could see were sheets of rain under the flickering light. The parking lot was empty. A few minutes later, the motion alarm on pump 2 beeped. That meant someone had pulled up. I looked out again. Nothing. No car, no headlights. But the screen still said, "Lift nozzle to begin fueling." I grabbed my jacket, thinking maybe the wind had tripped it, and went out with a flashlight. As soon as I stepped outside, the smell hit me. A strong, metallic smell, like rust or blood. I shined the light toward pump 2, and the nozzle was hanging down, dripping fuel onto the ground. But that wasn't what scared me. There were wet footprints. Bare feet. Small, child-sized footprints leading from the pump toward the edge of the lot, then vanishing into the darkness. I felt the hair on my arms stand up. I turned to go back inside, and the store lights went out. Inside, the emergency lights flickered weakly. The storm roared outside. I tried calling Carl, but the landline was dead, and of course, I had no cell signal out there. Then, the motion alarm went off again, this time for pump 1. I looked through the window, and my heart sank. There was a figure standing by the pump. The light flickered, and for a moment I saw it clearly. A man, tall, wearing what looked like an old raincoat, but it was completely soaked in something dark. His head was tilted too far to one side, like his neck couldn't support it. I blinked, and the light went out again. When it flickered back on, he was gone. I ran to the door, locked it, and stood behind the counter trying to convince myself I was just tired. But then, the bathroom light turned on. The switch was on the inside. The bathroom was a single stall in the back corner of the building. No windows, one door. The light underneath it was glowing faintly yellow, and I could hear, dripping. I grabbed the bat we kept behind the counter and crept closer. I could see a shadow moving inside the crack under the door. Slow, deliberate movements, like someone swaying back and forth. I knocked once. "Hello?" "Store's closed," I said, my voice cracking. No answer. Just the sound of water hitting tile. I don't know what possessed me to do it, but I turned a handle and opened a door just a few inches and immediately slammed it shut again. The smell hit me first, metallic, like before, mixed with rot. But what I saw was worse. There was a puddle of dark water on the floor, and in the middle of it, a small handprint smeared across the sink. But the sink wasn't running. When I turned away from the door, I saw something on the security monitor. One of the cameras pointing outside had come back on, and there, in black and white static, was the man in the raincoat again. But this time, he was closer, right outside the door. I backed away slowly, trying to stay quiet. The feed flickered again, and suddenly there were 2 of them. The same man, or two identical ones, standing side by side in front of the gas pumps, staring at the store. I could see their faces now, or at least what was left of them. Their skin looked pale and stretched, like they'd been underwater for days. Their mouths hung open, but there was no expression, just this vacant, horrible stare. The radio suddenly crackled to life, white noise and faint whispers under the static. I swear I heard my name. Derek. That's when every light in the store went out again. Total darkness. The only sound was the rain hammering the roof and that faint buzzing from the sign outside. I crouched behind the counter, gripping the bat so tightly that my hands went numb. Then I heard the door chime. Ding. Ding for 5. Someone, or something, had come inside. I held my breath. The only light came from a faint flicker of the exit sign above the door. I could hear footsteps in the tile. Slow, wet, dragging. The same sound I'd heard outside earlier. They stopped about 10 feet away. Then, in the glow of the exit sign, I saw it. That same tall figure, now inside the store, head still tilted to one side. The raincoat glistened, and dark streaks dripped from it onto the floor. He raised a hand and pointed directly at me behind the counter. His mouth opened slightly, but no sound came out, only a low, gurgling wheeze, like someone trying to breathe through water. Then, he vanished. Just like that. The sound stopped. The storm faded. The lights flickered back on, and the store was empty. The floor was dry. The door was locked. No footprints, no puddles, nothing. Except for one thing. The security monitor still showed the outside feed, frozen and static. But faintly, through the interference, I could still see the two figures at the pumps, staring. When Carl came in the next morning, I was still behind the counter, gripping the bat. I must have looked insane. He asked what happened, and I tried to show him the camera feed, but it was blank. Both cameras had lost power sometime during the night. I quit that same day. A few months later, I drove past the station, just to prove to myself that it had all been in my head. But the whole building was boarded up. A for sale sign hummed cricket on the door, and weeds were growing through the cracks in the concrete. I asked around, and someone told me there'd been a gas leak there years ago, before my time. A family was found in their car at the pump victims of carbon monoxide poisoning. The parents and their young son. 3 people. Sometimes, when I can't sleep, I hear thunder and think about that night, about the 2 tall figures and the small wet footprints that led away from pump 2. There should have been 3, but there were only 2 outside. The 3rd one must have come inside. If you enjoy stories like these, please show us by leaving a like or subscribing to the channel. If you want to be featured on one of the episodes, please leave a comment with your stories, and we will pick the best ones. Sleep tight.